Hello everyone and welcome back to the WFA National League here at the Lee Westwood Sports Centre. Firstly, want to apologise for the delay in having commentary alongside our match streams and any technical difficulties we or you have experienced across the streams. Hopefully everything is working now, but it gives me pleasure to welcome you to the 2024-25 Optegra Championship, the first weekend of National League football for the 24-25 season, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, and co-commentator Dean Williams, chair of the Wheelchair Football Association, for the first commentated game of the new season. How are you, Dean?
Well, I'm very good, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hopefully we are now in a place where we can provide commentary with little to no technical difficulties. But once again, I do apologise for anyone. I know Manchester City were unfortunate in a 5-0 defeat to West Bromwich Albion Dudley earlier this morning, which experienced those technical difficulties I am referencing. But here we have what should be a really good game. Manchester City looking to improve their performance against a Leeds Dynamo side who should really have aspirations of challenging for the title, if not promotion at the very least. But obviously getting on commentary for the first time for the new season, I want to just talk a little bit and celebrate Optegra Eye Healthcare as our new National League sponsor, which of course aligns with our commitment to excellence and innovation. Their support enhances our ability to provide this amazing platform, world-leading platform, I would say, for these players to exhibit their talents and abilities. Dean, little word for Optegra?
Yeah, it's a huge thank you to everyone, really. We started to engage with, I've known the guys for some time and known Matt and James specifically, but they had a presence, as you know, Ryan, at the end of season awards, and I think they were blown away by the welcome that the community gave them, which is I've become very accustomed to. What a fabulous community we have, and went back and said all the right things, and then it was about just picking up on that and then talking about the opportunity to further show their support. And for us, as you know, Ryan, it means the world for those that we serve in terms of what it enables us to do and how we can grow the sport. It's brilliant. So no, from my perspective, it's a massive thank you to everyone at Optegra, and we're really looking forward to having a great partnership with them as we go through the season.
I echo every part of that sentiment. It's fantastic to have them on board. And just for those tuning in, the National League will be referred to as the Optegra National League, with our divisions individually referred to as the 24-25 Optegra Premiership and the 2024-25 Optegra Championship. This, the WFA's and the National League's 19th season, so fast approaching that 20-year anniversary for us providing power chair football opportunities at the highest level here in England. And from what we've seen already, it sure promises to be a fantastic competitive year of football. Very different looking league to that finished the 23-24 campaign. We've got technically four different squads and teams competing in this championship for the first time in over 10 years. Norwich City, the team that finished third, were able to trump Nomad Knights, the team that finished 10th in the Premiership, to secure a third Premiership promotion spot alongside Middlesbrough and Greenbank. We wish them all the luck competing in that higher division, but that was, of course, meaning that 3 new teams entered via relegation from the Premiership. We had Manchester United, Hull and East Yorkshire, and Nomad Knights, who have recently rebranded and reformed as GBG Knights. So that's why I say the technicality of 4 new squads. Add to that the fact that we've seen more individual player transfers, which we will reference across the day and weekend as a whole means it's a very different looking league.
Just a note, Ryan, as well about the atmosphere from the moment we've started today. So there's nothing quite like, is there, a first game week of the season, and the fans are bringing that as well. There's a lot of noise and that anticipation and that excitement about the start of the season. That's definitely apparent as you walk in.
Yeah, we really hope that can be projected and portrayed across our streams. Of course, this is the first game in which we are providing commentary, but as Dean said, the support in the opening 2 or 3 games thus far has been absolutely incredible. Manchester City brought some really good support for their earlier 5-0 defeat to West Bromwich Albion Dudley, and whilst the scoreline may look very one-sided, I was really impressed with Manchester City. They're a team that managed to maintain their championship status last season. Of their 22 games played across the 23-24 campaign, they only won 2 and drew 1, so amassing a total of 5 points. But that was enough for them. 7 points was enough for them to secure their status in this season's championship. Hopefully they'll all have benefited from that year's experience. And it was certainly the case in that earlier game, despite the scoreline. But West Bromwich Albion Dudley are sure to be up there challenging for the title come game week 5. Leeds Dynamos, a team of their 22 games played in the 23-24 campaign, were absolutely fantastic. They finished in 4th, winning 11 and drawing 4 of their 22 games. They only finished 2 points off of automatic promotion and 1 point off that playoff spot, which Norwich managed to clinch on the final day of the 23-24 campaign. So if that is a barometer as to what to expect going forward, they will surely be challenging for the title. Just to go through the squads very quickly. For Manchester City, they have a squad of number 1, Jay Pixton, number 7, James Simpson, number 9, Kareem Ali, number 10 and captain Lucas Veza O'Brien, number 17, Sebastian Spink, number 20, his brother Oscar Spink, and number 29, Stephen Miller Whitaker. For Leeds Dynamos here this morning, playing their first game of the 24-25 season, they have number 4, Sebastian Copeland. They have number 16, Jack McNaughton. They have number 20, Reece Stewart. They have number 28, Liam Chadwick. They have number 66, Hayden Lambert. And number 34 is that of Jack Humphreys. Speed testing completed. We will soon to be underway with Pete Westmoreland officiating the centre, complemented by Carolyn Goldsborough. Have to get that right now, recently married. And Lee Brennan live on court A currently. Teesside Steel PFC play their first game of the season against Manchester United, also competing in their first fixture. That is also live across the WFA's YouTube channel. Once again, huge thank you to Optegra. We'll be sure to showcase this really exciting partnership as we progress through the season. But just to give a little bit of context and insight into the organisation, they were established in 2007 and they are a very well regarded eye care provider. They have 19 hospitals and clinics across the UK, and as well as providing the latest vision correction technologies, from various laser eye surgery procedures to lens replacements and more, Optegra work closely with the NHS across England to provide cataract surgeries, to thousands within just a few weeks of referral, using the highest quality lenses. They of course share and align with our commitments to improving lives, so it's so good to have them on boards.
Just trying to work out, Ryan, how many opportunities we get during commentary and the rest of the commentary team to talk about alignment with vision and perfect vision and that kind of stuff. There must be some perfect opportunities for us.
I think it would have gone unnoticed across the WFA's social media, but I did put a post out the other day that was a slight nod to the visibility and the clarity of things, just trying to throw in some Optegra related specific words that also are very much aligned to us as well. So the whistle was blown and we are underway here at the Lee Westwood Sports Centre for the 11:40-50 kickoffs. Sorry, slightly delayed. That shouldn't change anything here. So Liam Chadwick in the centre, hoping for a really bright season, was one of the standouts last season. To go through the starting squads of these two teams, they had Jay Pixton in goal for Manchester City. In front, it looks like Sebastian Spink, the number 17, with Stephen Miller-Whittaker and James Simpson on either wing. Liam Chadwick in yellow, just kicking that ball to Hayden Lambert, a player recently transferred. So Liam Chadwick in the centre, adorning that yellow goalkeeper jersey. Sebastian Copeland, the most offensive of the four Dynamos players, and on the alternate wing is Reece Stewart. So two new transfers for Leeds Dynamos. Hayden Lambert, the number 66, on this bottom left-hand corner of your screens, as Liam Chadwick tries to squeeze it between Jay Pixton and that right-hand post. Reece Stewart also there to attack the ball with his front bumper. Just gets locked up well by Manchester City's defence. And the other sub-transfer, Jack McNaughton, who played his football with Nomad Knights last year. Hayden Lambert. Controlled by Liam Chadwick, pressured by James Simpson. Worth noting, Manchester City do have a very young squad. A little bit more experience in the Dynamo's ranks. Sebastian Copeland, an experienced Premiership footballer. Also really exciting to see Lewis Harris, the new coach of the Leeds Dynamos. So he plays his football with Leeds Chariots and coaches Leeds Dynamos, so he'll be very in tune to the club's philosophy and way of playing.
And bringing his England experience.
Absolutely. Hayden Lambert unable to make contact on that spin kick. So Sebastian Spink has responsibility of this kick-in on the left-hand side. Manchester City definitely had chances to register goals in their opening 5-0 defeat to West Bromwich Albion Dudley. I'm sure that's a real aspiration and goal as Reece Stewart tries to squeeze it behind that back post. I'm not quite sure how Hayden Lambert didn't capitalise, as 2-on-1 is awarded in Manchester City's favour. It was really well positioned from the City defenders. Looked almost a certain opening goal. Don't underestimate what that year's experience will do for that squad.
Started well, haven't they? Leeds, front foot.
They certainly have. Liam Chadwick, the most visible, busy player in the opening 3.5 minutes. Out to Hayden Lambert. Fired into the side of Sebastian Spink. Distributes over to Stephen Miller-Whittaker. Could see the intent, that front bumper pick off over to James Simpson on the left, but well positioned from Liam Chadwick just to prevent that. Out for a Leeds Dynamo's ball. Well intercepted from Simpson. Whitaker. Very stop-start in the opening part of this game. I think that's probably what Manchester City will have to do. Fragment the momentum of Leeds Dynamos. Keep it goalless for as long as possible as Hayden Lambert pressures Jay Pixton. Miller Whitaker oddly drawn into that action and was facing Sebastian Spink, so lapse in concentration from the City number 29 gifts Leeds Dynamos an indirect free kick via a 2-on-1. Stewart over to Lambert, just nicks off the front of Sebastian Spink's chair, out of play for a Dynamo's ball. Down to Lambert, stays in reverse. Too much angle on that crossfield ball. Stewart. City trying to force their way into Dynamo's half. Good persistent work from James Simpson. Reece Stewart out to Hayden Lambert, intercepted by Sebastian Spink. Pick off from Liam Chadwick. I think Reece Stewart caught in two minds as to whether to engage that ball down the right hand wing or front bumper back to Liam Chadwick. Dynamo still have possession in attack. On the edge, it's going to be a chance on goal. Fired off the left hand post. Really nice worked opportunity on that occasion. Liam Chadwick can only ricochet the ball off the left hand post. Best chance of the game. We've got our first substitution of the game as well, making his debut for Leeds Dynamos. Jack McNaughton replaces Hayden Lambert. Hayden Lambert very busy in the opening 7 minutes, though. Jack McNaughton could probably expect a lot of the same. Miller Whitaker just guides it down the court, doesn't engage, too much pace, rolls out for a goal kick.
I was going to say, actually, before the chance there from Liam Chadwick that hit the post, they've just grown into the game a little bit, Man City, finding their way into it a little bit, and then that happened. So at the moment, still level, but they seem to be growing into it a little bit.
I think if you showed Manchester City this performance and kind of this defensive structure to them last year, they would be delighted. There's a clear evolution and progression for their positioning on the pitch. Obviously 2-on-1, such a fundamental rule in the sport of power chair football, which prevents one or more players from the same team challenging an opponent within 3 metres. It's kind of a rule that's been implemented within the sport of power chair football to keep play open and fair. And National League is far superior to the various regional leagues that we have across the country in terms of pace of game and intensity. So that's something they've had to adjust to, but they're attacking now, and this is two teams that were fighting at very different ends of the table last season. Good ball out to Jack McNaughton. Strange decision. I would have liked to have seen him either control that or spin the other way. Reece Stewart was advancing up the court.
Just look at the Man City coaches. Very, very animated, but in a really, really supportive way. And clearly they've got, to your point, right, there's a structure they've put in place in terms of where they expect people to be, and that's you know, it might take a bit of time to get right, but you can see that's trying to be implemented.
Field ball from Jack McNaughton, doesn't have the accuracy to find Reece Stewart. Out of play for a Manchester City ball. Going to get our second substitute of the game. It will be for Manchester City, who bring Kareem Ali on for Stephen Miller-Whittaker. The most isolated of the 8 players on the court. Pixton down to Sebastian Spink, just gets trapped between himself and Liam Chadwick, who weaves his way around. Reece Stewart has to be careful of his positioning. Have to echo your point about the Manchester City coaches, Ross Smith and Brad Heat. Really vocal, really positive, enthusiastic communicators. Just that clarity of instructions I think the players really benefit from. And worth noting, these are 2 coaches who are have just as much experience as these players do at National League level, so they'll be learning just as much as their squad will. Sebastian Spink into the centre. Kareem Ali's first real engagement in the game. Liam Chadwick out to Jack McNaughton. Manages to find Liam Chadwick, who feints to distribute out to Reece Stewart. Over to James Simpson. Well backed off by Kareem Ali. Otherwise, a short 2-on-1 would have been awarded to Dynamos. Good work from James Simpson, who's going to try and capitalise on Sebastian Copeland, drawing towards that right-hand post to cover Kareem Ali. Good game awareness from James Simpson. Nearly a goal-scoring opportunity. We've had 12 minutes. Manchester City 0, Leeds Dynamos 0. Really tactical game between these 2 sides.
Lewis Harris up and down the touchline.
Yep, and he's just implemented a double substitute for Leeds Dynamos. Hayden Lambert coming on in place of Reece Stewart, and Jack Humphreys, making his first appearance of the season, comes on in place of Liam Chadwick. So interesting to see if he can influence things in the centre as Liam Chadwick did. Hayden Lambert very close, will want to back off slightly, which he does so. Simpson over to Kareem Ali, controls it, a lot of pace on the ball, so rolls out eventually. Much better from Manchester City. They'll be really happy with this performance against a sure title challenger. Just trying to understand what, just an adjustment to James Simpson. So Sebastian Copeland to take into Jack Humphreys. Just cushion down to Hayden Lambert, who fires an effort. A goal ricochets off the left-hand post, sorry. Really unfortunate for Jay Pixton. He had that post covered, but the ricochet put a real arc on the ball. And Leeds Dynamos, after 15 minutes, go 1-0 up.
The balance of it, Ryan, that's deserved, isn't it? Did we give Jack Humphreys the credit for that pass, or was that slight miskick?
No, I think there was definite intent there from Jack Humphreys. He took some power off of it, which just cushioned it kindly into the path of Hayden Lambert. By luck or by judgment, firing it off that post. Either way, Leeds Dynamos lead 1-0. Sadly, our graphics are not working, so we'll strive to get that 1-0 scoreline up as soon as possible. Hayden Lambert played his football with Hull and East Yorkshire in the Premiership last season. Opens his Leeds Dynamos account. Leeds Dynamos weren't quite as prolific as other teams in the division last year. Sebastian Copeland was their top scorer across their 22 games, registering just 8. Liam Chadwick on 7, Jack Humphreys on 6, Reece Stewart on 4, so I'm sure they'll be wanting to get on double digits. Hayden Lambert was fairly prolific, I seem to recall, in the 22-23 Championship with Hull and East Yorkshire. Across the 22 games in that season, I believe he finished on 19 goals. So if he can look to score a comparable amount in the 24-25 Optegra Championship, he will surely be in contention for the top goalscorer award. Final 3 minutes of the half. Sebastian Spink to take this kick in on the left. James Simpson very close, has to be careful of his placement. Gifts possession back to Leeds Dynamos. Fired into the back of Hayden Lambert. Caught slightly unaware as to the ball's placement. Sebastian Spink with a second successive kick in as many minutes. Kareem Ali in a lot of space on the right-hand wing. If he can manage to force the ball over in that direction, it does reach the City number 9 via Jack Humphreys. Out of play from Manchester City ball. For anyone tuning in, it's Manchester City 0, Leeds Dynamos 1. Apologies for the technical difficulties on our scoreline. Sebastian Spink, nice ball over to James Simpson, guides an effort goal bound off Jack Humphreys' chair, forces the ball off. Jack McNaughton very close, has to be careful of his placement. Kareem Ali would have liked to have seen him stay in reverse there. Miss hit from Jack Humphreys, a lively finish. Half-time on court A. I think it's Teesside 0, Manchester United 0. It's also live across the WFA's YouTube channel. But thank you to all that are tuning in to myself and Dean Williams for this game between Manchester City and Leeds Dynamos. Two on one in favour of Manchester City. As was the case in their earlier game, I think the scoreline is slightly unfair to Manchester City. It's been a very even 19 minutes so far. Some of the best football they've played against a real strong side in Leeds Dynamos. Humphreys returns the favour to Jack McNaughton. Out of play. Goals were really hard to come by for Manchester City last season. The league's lowest scorers, having only registered 5 goals across their 22 games, so I'm sure that's been a big focus in the off-season and their preparations for the new campaign. A fantastic ball from Jack Humphreys. Hayden Lambert not quite in the right position to capitalise. A beautiful distribution from Humphreys there.
Kind of Jack's come on, hasn't he, and taken over from what Liam was doing very well in the start of the game as well.
I've had many conversations with Jack Humphreys since the end of last season. I think he was one of the most improved players across their 22 games last season. Really grew into the season and established himself in that central role. That is half-time. Manchester City 0. Leeds Dynamos 1. I'll remove the incorrect graphic, but thank you to all that are tuning in. Myself and Dean will be back very shortly for the second half. Hello everyone and welcome back to this second half between Manchester City and Leeds Dynamos, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, and my co-commentator, Dean Williams. Really intriguing first half. Really impressed with what I've seen from Manchester City, not just this game but their opening game as well. But it's Leeds Dynamos that have that 1-goal advantage via Hayden Lambert in the first half. Manchester City very evenly matched with Leeds Dynamos, who have adjusted in the break. We'll bring you those changes very shortly. Following this, Kareem Ali attack, who switched wings in the second half. So Manchester City unchanged in terms of their goalkeeper and central pairing. Jay Pixton, I apologise, it's Oscar Spink now in place of his brother Sebastian Spink. Lucas Veza O'Brien enters the fray. Kareem Ali still on the alternate wing. Leeds Dynamos have Sebastian Copeland in goal. Liam Chadwick back in the action. Reece Stewart and Hayden Lambert, the team in which started the first half. Heavy contact between Hayden Lambert and Lucas Veza O'Brien. Goes in the favour of the former. So Leeds Dynamos with a direct free kick in a really good place halfway into the City half. Chadwick to take, Lambert to the right, Reece Stewart to the left. Chadwick over to Stewart, into the box. Hayden Lambert's effort just wide of the right-hand post, but a well-worked opportunity. But good defensive structure from Manchester City.
I don't think Lucas agreed with that decision. Quite a character, our Lucas, isn't he?
There's not much he doesn't think is in his favour. He's certainly a character, and I'm sure he will be contributing to our commentary efforts both across game week 1 and the 24-25 Optegra Championship as a whole. Anyone looking or wanting to support our commentary efforts, please make yourself known to us at the Lee Westwood Sports Centre. We would love to accommodate you.
I'm actually qualified now, do you know that, right?
I do know, having recently enrolled on the Alan March Sports commentary course. What were your thoughts on that? Because I took the first one delivered at the back end of 2023, I believe, and it was a really interesting, intriguing experience. Fairly intense, a 2-day course, but I think it prepares you and arms you with the basics of sports commentary, led by industry experts.
Yeah, 100%. It's fascinating, actually. It's the kind of thing that you think that you can just jump onto and do, and to make it jump to life, which you make seem, I have to say, Ryan, as everyone knows, effortless. The reality is there's so much hard work that goes into it. So I'm very happy with my role to be a supporting co-commentator rather than perhaps taking the lead. But no, it was brilliant. I thought the guys facilitating it were absolutely superb, and we learnt an awful lot.
It's a good opportunity there from Leeds Dynamos. Fantastic accuracy, splitting pass from Liam Chadwick. Hayden Lambert not quite set to capitalise. Lewis Harris just drilling in some final instructions to Jack McNaughton and Jack Humphreys on the Dynamos bench. As Reece Stewart has the task of trying to force the ball past Lucas Veza O'Brien. Flicked back to the centre, well left by Stewart. Chadwick, Stewart, across the court. Lambert. Just It's a heavy touch from Chadwick there, just puts possession back with Lucas Fezza-O'Brien momentarily before Hayden Lambert switches the play. One thing that is fairly evident from Lewis Harris's approach and tactical setup, more so in the second half than what was exhibited in the first, is how expansive and wide they are, producing some really nice passing play with Liam Chadwick at the base of that pivot as Hayden Lambert attempts an effort at goal. Not before the 2-on-1 was awarded in favour of Manchester City. So a slight bit of respite for Jay Pixton and Oscar Spink. Spink to Ali. Reece Stewart with possession on the left. Flicked back to Chadwick. This is that triangle passing patterns that I was referencing just a few moments ago. Hayden Lambert high and wide on the right. Reece Stewart likewise on the left. Chadwick in the centre. His distribution is so key to that tactical approach. Same can be applied to Jack Humphreys when he's occupying that central one. That is an absolutely fantastic opportunity. Looked almost a certain goal, and Hayden Lambert follows it up. What a brilliant pattern of play from Leeds Dynamos.
Exactly what you just referenced, Ryan, that one beautiful passage of play there where everybody pretty much was involved in that. And I think to be fair, I was just going to make the comment that offensively, Man City need to do a little bit more shape-wise in terms of their structure, their discipline. It's kind of, you can see what they're trying to work on, but offensively, that's the bit to now get right. But I think Leeds deserve that. It's now, you know, just over 13 minutes to go, and there's a lot of work to do for City now.
Irrelevant of the defensive opposition facing an attack of such accuracy, anyone would have difficulty dealing with something like that. Some of the best passing play I've seen in the opening 2 or 3 games. Seb Copeland has had little to nothing to do in this second half, certainly, as Lucas Fezza-O'Brien trying to create something. Chadwick out to Hayden Lambert, looking for his hat-trick. Stewart across the court. Hayden Lambert was ready to capitalise in a ricochet just wide of that left-hand post. Out for a Manchester City goal kick.
They'll fancy that, won't they? A contender for goal of game week 1. If not goal of, move of. Fantastic move.
Jay Pixton down to Oscar Spink in the centre. Over to Lucas Fezza-O'Brien, very close to Spink in the centre. Out of play from Manchester City ball. Frustration from Lucas Fezza-O'Brien. Could have had a goal scoring opportunity there had he got his placement and timing correct. Another double substitute for Leeds Dynamos. Jack Humphreys now going to be the most offensive of the 4 Dynamos players. This is an exciting pairing. 2 players who've staked a claim to be that central pivot. Interested to see how they operate with one another. Jack McNaughton also enters the fray in place of Reece Stewart, who was so crucial in creating that second Hayden Lambert goal. Oscar Spink. Intercepted by Chadwick. Flicked over to Jack McNaughton. I'd like to have seen him stay in reverse there, just to open up play and his vision, as Hayden Lambert has done so brilliantly on the right. Just can't quite get the timing, but you see what it does, and it affords him if when the players high and wide stay in reverse. Stephen Miller-Whittaker back on in place of Kareem Ali. Jay Pixton, alert, Lambert. The most advanced the City goalkeeper has been all game. 30.5 minutes in. Appeals from the Manchester City coaches. Play continues from Pete Westmoreland. Chadwick out to Lambert, can't quite get the purchase on that ball, so Lucas Vezza-O'Brien has time and space, slightly rushes his intention. McNaughton on the left. Patient play from the Dynamo's number 16. Flicks it back to Liam Chadwick. Just for reference, on the sides of the court here, the Lee Westwood Sports Centre, we're playing to the red lines at the base, so the sides of our goal posts, it's the black, and the orange lines designate the goalkeeper area. And as is the case with any form of football, the whole ball has to leave the court to be deemed out, as it was so in that passage of play. Liam Chadwick to take. Very brave, expansive intent from Leeds Dynamos, with all four players currently occupying a position in the Manchester City half. Jack Humphreys just on that halfway line now, looking to adopt that four-out approach, using all four players in attacking and defensive phases of play. Hayden Lambert looking for his hat-trick, tries to squeeze the ball between Spink and Pixton. They just trapped the ball, and now they're going to try and break. 7 minutes left to be played. Manchester City 0, Leeds Dynamos 2. Miller-Whittaker once again needs to be careful of his placement. Fortunately escapes without that 2-on-1 of being awarded by Pete Westmoreland. Of course, these two met last season. 2 games, 2 Leeds Dynamos wins. Their first meeting in November of 2023 was a 5-0 victory for the Yorkshire-based side. Their second meeting at the start of June was 2-0 to Leeds Dynamo, so mirrors the scoreline here at present. There's O'Brien across the court, front bumper pick off from Miller-Whittaker. intercepted by Liam Chadwick. Hayden Lambert does well to keep the ball live. Distribution out to Jack McNaughton. Once again, that's the second or third time he's cross-field ball. Hasn't quite had the angle to distribute to an advanced corner of the court. Out for a Manchester City ball. A number of players drawn into that central area. Visible frustration from Lucas Veza O'Brien there. Direct free kick for Leeds Dynamos, 5 minutes to be played.
How does the Man City performance compare with the first game of game week 1, Ryan?
Manchester City, I think they needed a little bit of time to grow into the season. There's been obviously a significant gap between the end of the 23-24 campaign and the start of this, so you can always give that grace period to certain teams that are coming into the new season. West Bromwich Albion Dudley, as Jack McNaughton fires the ball behind Jay Pixton. What a fantastic goal from the Dynamos winger.
I asked you that question just at the wrong time.
You did, but as I was saying, Manchester City were really good, really bright in places against West Bromwich Albion Dudley, and I've already mentioned the fact that the 5-0 scoreline in which it finished was rather unfair to the performance that Manchester City produced, where they had a number of attacking success. They just couldn't quite get the ball over the line. But we've seen very much more of the same. This has been more of a defensive performance from them. But if they're able to produce this level of performance across the 22 games, I think they will amass enough points to put some distance between themselves and them latter stages that result in potential playoffs and or relegation from the Optegra Championship. It's just about finding them goals, and that's easier said than done at a level such as the Championship. But if I'm the coaches, I'm really encouraged with what I've seen thus far, as Jack McNaughton tries to squeeze the ball in the left-hand post this time. It's Hayden Lambert with a second follow-up effort out for a Manchester City goal kick. But worth noting also that Leeds Dynamos and West Bromwich Albion Dudley will have strong aspirations of challenging for the title. So the context of the opposition in which they're facing needs to be factored in as well. Manchester City have another tough game at the start of tomorrow, where they face recently relegated Hull and East Yorkshire PFC at 12:45 before their 3:05 meeting with Nottingham Forest, the only team that finished below them in the 23-24 campaign. So if they are to register points, that probably presents their most credible opportunity to do so. But it's a very different Hull and East Yorkshire side, so points are very possible in that one as well. This Leeds Dynamo's first game of 4 across game week 1 of the 24-25 Optegra Championship. Their second of the day is against Teesside Steel, and that promises to be an action-packed, intriguing matchup tomorrow. They place AFC Bournemouth Warriors, who are yet to play in game week 1, and then GBG Knights, who started in emphatic fashion earlier today, with a fairly one-sided win over Hull and East Yorkshire. So some tough opposition for Leeds Dynamos, but if they want aspirations of getting promoted to the 25-26 campaign. They're going to have to take points against any and every opposition, as Hayden Lambert, desperately seeking his hat-trick, fires the ball into stationary Pixton and Spink. And once again, Lucas Vezza O'Brien deemed the aggressor in that passage of play as he just rotated into the side of Liam Chadwick. I think he's struggled with that contact and has been replaced by James Simpson. So a free kick for Leeds Dynamos as we've now ticked over into additional time. So it'll be interesting to see how much Pete Westmoreland has amassed over this 40-minute fixture, or certainly 20-minute half. I doubt very little. 2-on-1 in favour of Manchester City. Looks like it's going to end Manchester City 0, Leeds Dynamos 3. 2 goals from Hayden Lambert. A sensational finish from Jack McNaughton secures them their first 3 points of the season. Congratulations to Leeds Dynamos, commiserations to Manchester City. But as we have been referencing across this fixture, so many positives to take for City. It's a long season ahead. They need to take the positives. They need to build on what they learn from each and every fixture. And I'm sure that they will surpass their 7-point total from the 23-24 campaign. Thoughts, Dean?
Yeah, you've summed it up really well, I think, Ryan. I think for me, congratulations, Leeds Dynamos. I thought they deserved that. More potent. They were certainly on the front foot for the majority of that game. I think with Man City, everything you've just said, I mean, again, if you look on paper, it looks like a bruising couple of performances. But for me, the coaches will be, I think, quite encouraging about some of the patterns that they're trying to put in place. The only concern I would have at this moment in time for Man City is offensively, based on what you said, which is an interesting stat, isn't it, of last season, just scoring 5 goals. You know, can they get themselves a bit more offensively creative? And that's the bit that was probably lacking, certainly from what I watched there. But I think, as I say, I think they'll be encouraged with some of the work they've already put into the team in terms of the patterns that they have.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So next up, scheduled for a 1 o'clock kickoff here on Court B, Nottingham Forest take on Hull and East Yorkshire PFC. On Court A, Muscle Warriors take on AFC Bournemouth Warriors. Thank you to all that have been tuning in. We'll be back for follow-up games in game week 1 of the 24-25 Optegra Championship. Thank you all.